Elon Musk might soon announce news that could worsen an already challenging situation for Boeing's Starliner. Two astronauts are currently stranded on the International Space Station with no return date set. But what if Musk's update reveals an even more troubling reality? Let's take a closer look at the fate of the astronauts stranded in space. NASA astronauts Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams made history as the first humans to be launched into orbit aboard a Boeing Starliner. They took off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Base on June 5, 2024 at 10:52 a.m., beginning a 25-hour journey to the International Space Station. This launch marked the initiation of NASA's Boeing Starliner crew flight test. Ted Colbert, president and CEO of Boeing Defense, Space and Security, remarked, "This crew flight test signifies the start of a new era in space exploration as astronauts Wilmore and Williams experience the Boeing Starliner during their journey to the International Space Station. It's a fantastic start. We are thrilled to ensure the astronauts reach the space station safely and return home." As the first crew to launch on an Atlas V rocket, Wilmore and Williams were anticipated to experience microgravity during their flight to the station. The astronauts conducted a series of flight tests, including manually piloting the Starliner. The spacecraft carried 2 crew members and approximately 345 kilograms of cargo. After docking with the ISS, Wilmore and Williams were scheduled to spend about a week aboard the station before returning to Earth. However, things did not go as expected. The shuttle was discovered to have thruster failures and helium leaks in the capsules, and despite investigations, the source of these issues could not be determined. As a result, the return of the vehicle to Earth was postponed 4 times. NASA concluded that it was too risky to bring the 2 astronauts back in Boeing's defective capsule. It remains unclear when they will return. The capsule returned to Earth without them on September 6. NASA announced that the astronauts will remain in space until February 2025. Consequently, their test flight, which was initially planned to last 1 week, will now extend to over 8 months. A SpaceX Dragon spacecraft, scheduled to bring the 2 astronauts home, was launched at the end of September. NASA's Crew 9 mission was originally designed as a 4-person mission, but the crew size was reduced to accommodate Wilmore and Williams for the return trip. American astronaut Nick Hague and Russian astronaut Alexander Gorbunov will pilot the Dragon capsule on its journey to the orbiting laboratory. Hague mentioned that integrating the stranded astronauts into Dragon operations posed one of the unique challenges of the mission. "The teams on the ground have not only prepared us, but they've also started assisting Butch and Suni in understanding what they need to do inside Dragon," he added. Amid all this, Wilmore and Williams are helping with routine maintenance and conducting experiments on the space station. Williams remarked, "We're excited to fly 2 different spacecraft, so we're testers, that's our job. We evaluate various airplanes and spacecraft, and this is a truly unique opportunity." So, what role does Elon Musk play in all this? This Starliner was anticipated to be a significant milestone in Boeing's competition with Elon Musk's SpaceX for collaboration with NASA. When the project was initiated, it was already years behind schedule and $1.5 billion over budget, and the issues with the Starliner have only added to the embarrassments faced by Boeing's commercial flight business in recent months due to malfunctioning aircraft and whistleblowers raising serious concerns about the company's safety and quality control practices. For his part, Elon Musk has recently claimed that astronauts stranded in space will never make it back to Earth. In fact, Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams are not the only astronauts stranded in space. Several notable incidents of astronauts being stranded have occurred. One of the most famous cases is Apollo 13. This NASA mission was the 3rd crewed spacecraft intended to land on the Moon, but a significant problem arose during the flight. 2 days after launch, an oxygen tank exploded in the spacecraft's service module, leading to a loss of power, oxygen, and water. This forced the astronauts to abort the lunar landing mission and fight for their survival. NASA and the astronauts quickly developed contingency plans. The 3 crew members, Jim Lovell, Fred Hayes, and Jack Swigert, used the lunar module as a living space and conserved essential resources. During their journey back to Earth, they circled the moon and ultimately returned safely. The phrase "Houston, we have a problem" became famous as a result of this event. In 1971, the crew of Soyuz 11 faced a tragic accident while successfully completing their mission to and from the space station Salyut 1. During their return, a decompression occurred in the spacecraft's landing module. This meant that the pressure inside the cabin suddenly dropped, leading to suffocation for the astronauts. Tragically, Georgita Bravolsky, Viktor Patsayev, and Vladislav Volkov lost their lives before the spacecraft could return to Earth. This Soyuz 11 incident marked the first occasion in the history of manned spaceflight where astronauts were lost due to such an accident. Alexei Leonov, the Soviet cosmonaut who conducted the first spacewalk, faced a perilous situation that could have left him stranded in space. As he was returning from his spacewalk, his spacesuit unexpectedly inflated, making it challenging for him to re-enter the capsule. Had he not partially deflated his suit, he would have been unable to get back inside. In a desperate bid to save his life, Leonov successfully maneuvered through the narrow opening by dangerously lowering the pressure in his spacesuit. In 1997, 2 Russian cosmonauts aboard the Mir space station experienced the perilous risks of being stranded in space once again. A cargo ship named Progress, which was delivering supplies to the Mir station, collided with it. This collision resulted in an air leak and a partial loss of power within the station. Following the incident, astronauts Vasily Tsiblyev and Alexander Luzitkin shut down the affected section to seal the leak. They also had to carefully manage the energy supply as some of the station's solar panels were rendered inoperable during the collision. Fortunately, they were able to navigate through the crisis and safely return to Earth. This scenario demonstrates the dangers of being stranded in space and underscores the essential survival skills that astronauts must possess. Experiencing such a situation has historically tested both technological advancements and human resilience. What are your thoughts on these incidents? Would you want to be in the position of the stranded astronauts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section.